Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Pro Wrestling Chat. And I'm your host, Sean Patrick Erschen. And this week we are talking specifically about Impact Wrestling and the Slammiversary pay-per-view event, which is taking place this Saturday, July 17th. And yeah, they got a stacked card. And before we get started, I just want to say I am a huge fan of Impact Wrestling, especially within the past couple of years is when I really started getting back into it. And right now it's my favorite wrestling company, so I think they've just been killing it. I honestly think that this is the best Impact Wrestling has ever been. They have never had a more solid show front to back, than right now, in my opinion, Everything is working, everything is in place and functioning as it should, and they're just firing on all cylinders. I mean, even back in the day when they first started, they always had something that was bad, Even when they had AJ Styles and Samoa Joe and all that, there was always like some kind of bad storyline going on. There was always something that stunk, even though they had great matches with great physicality, like the Ultimate X match and the X Division Championship matches. They've had so many great matches in the past, but a lot of times the writing and the storytelling would get in the way. Back then you had Vince Russo writing it, need I say more? And he came up with some really dumb stuff like he did in WCW, I will say one thing I liked that Vince Russo did was The Beautiful People. That was the only good thing he ever did with TNA that I can think of. Alright guys, we have a stack card, and as we saw last year, Impact Wrestling Slammiversary 2020 was an absolute game changer for Impact Wrestling. There was so much buzz about it. And the fact that the Good Brothers came in, they announced that prior to Slammiversary, and that really started a lot of buzz, and there was rumblings that some other people could show up, and they really delivered an outstanding pay-per-view, and that just kind of raised the bar for Impact. Before then they were kind of struggling, but they found their place, they found their calling. They got everything that fell into place together perfectly for that pay-per-view. And ever since then, they've just been knocking it out of the park, with the monthly pay-per-views on the Impact Plus network. And every pay-per-view they've had, since then has been fantastic, And every Impact Wrestling show on Thursday nights is just delivered, They've just been doing a great job, Say what you will about their partnership with AEW and Kenny Omega and all that, Has that really worked for the company? Or has it worked to their advantage? It's kind of questionable, but regardless, they're delivering great matches, and they've got some really good storylines going on. They put on a fantastic wrestling show. Alright, the first match we're going to talk about is the Knockouts Tag Team Championship. So happy that the Knockouts Championship is back in the tag team division. I'm so happy they brought it back, and ever since then they've been killing it, and all the fans love it, They've had some great rivalries, you had Fire and Flavor in there as the tag champions. You had Jordan Grace and Rachel Ellering there, you got Tennille Dashwood, was always trying to find a partner so she can compete with for the championship, but never seems to be able to, so yeah, there's that. And there's a lot of buzz around this match saying that people think that the Iconics might debut right here, and I agree with that. There's heavy buzz that they're going to show up. The Iconics were recently released from WWE, both of them, Peyton Royce and Billie Kay. And yeah, I do think they are going to show up, and they are going to get involved in this match. And And I think that's going to work in the favor of Rosemary and Havoc. So it's Rosemary and Havoc who recently came together, and they now see eye to eye, and they are taking on the champions Fire and Flava, which is Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan. But I think that Fire and Flava is going to lose the Knockouts Tag Team Championships to Rosemary and Havoc, and there will be some involvement from the Iconics, I think. They're going to make their debut and they're going to get involved in the match. Number 2 is Moose versus Chris Sabin. There's a lot of buzz about this because I guess Moose's contract is coming up and people are not sure whether he's going to renew with TNA or Impact Wrestling. But I still think Moose is going to win. I think if he is going to go out, he's going to go out on a high note with a great match. And who better to have just a great match than with a legend like Chris Sabin, who was one of the forefathers of TNA Impact Wrestling, you know. So yeah, they're just going to deliver the goods and just have a great kick-ass heavyweight match, you know. And that's what it's about. Number 3 is the Ultimate X match. So really cool. That's a classic TNA match, you know, that they've had years ago, and that they've had so many great matches in the past that have been some of the best matches ever in TNA. So you got all these awesome X Division competitors, and the X Division is just killing it right now. I mean, the X Division is stronger than it's been in years, you know. And you've got a great champion in Josh Alexander. He's doing great. And you got Petey Williams, who recently came back, and he's amazing. Like, I can't believe how good he is still. Because he's one of the older guys, you know. He's one of the TNA originals from years ago. But he's in phenomenal shape. He can still jump around. You know, he can still do everything that he ever was able to do, which is amazing. You got Ace Austin in the Young Buck, you know, who's very, very athletic, very physical, and he's got a great character. You got Chris Bay, also very physical, great character, very charismatic. Rohit Raju, same thing, the Indian wrestler there, he's fantastic. Trey Miguel, very, very physical. I don't know about his character so much. He doesn't really have too much of a character to me, but he's a fantastic wrestler, a great high flyer. Now this could go so many different ways, you know. And I do think here is another place that we could get a former WWE star or somebody from outside the company like AEW or New Japan. I think they might get Kalisto on this one. I think he'd be a great fit too, because they don't really have any luchador style wrestlers right now, other than, I guess you could consider Suicide kind of a luchador. I don't know, but they don't have a bona fide luchador, and I think they need that, you know, especially in the X Division. But I think Josh Alexander is going to retain. It's going to be an incredible match that's going to be back and forth and all kinds of crazy spots. But I think they're not going to derail the momentum of Josh Alexander where he's at right now. Because he's just killing it. Every match he just delivers like a 5-star match. You saw him in the Iron Man match there with TJP for an hour long. I mean, you saw him go against the guy, and he went to New Japan Pro Wrestling and had an excellent match, you know. So I don't think he's going to lose. He's just going to continue to be a dominant X Division champion. Number 4 is the Knockouts Championship. Deonna Purrazzo, who is my favorite female wrestler right now, and I think she's the best in the world. And and so many people are talking like, oh, she's going to lose, you know. And she's going against a mystery opponent, which you saw, you know. Gail Kim came out last week's Impact and announced that she's going to be going against a mystery opponent. And talk is that it's definitely going to be somebody from outside the company. So yeah, most of the buzz about the released WWE superstars is right here in this match for sure. I mean, this is definitely going to be somebody from outside Impact, and most people say it's going to be either Mickie James, which obviously she has a lot of history with Impact Wrestling. She was a 3-time Knockouts Championship, I believe. And also Chelsea Green, who was a former Impact Knockouts champion. Under the name of Laurel Van Ness, she was the hot mess. She wore like the the dirty wedding dress and the makeup, lipstick painted all over her face. Yeah, they called it the hot mess. I think she is going to be the one. I think it's going to be Chelsea Green back returning as the Laurel Van Ness character, the hot mess. But I do not think she is going to win the Knockouts Championship. I think she's going to win the match via DQ. That way Deonna gets to continue her reign, for a while longer. And we'll see if she can be a longer champion than Taya Valkyrie was. Because right now Taya Valkyrie has the longest reign in Knockouts history. So yeah, I'd like to see Deonna surpass that, but I think they're going to have a long rivalry, Chelsea Green and Deonna Purrazzo. This will be just the start of it. Why do I think it's going to be a DQ? Because we know something is going to happen with Su Yung. We saw that the guy came back from hell, whatever his name is, that conjured up Su Yung the last time. And he also turned her into Susan. I am Susan, trust me. I love Susan, she is so funny. It's like the 3 faces of Foley now with her. She's got Susie, Su Yung, and Susan. 3 distinctively different characters. She's just great. I mean, she's so creative. But I think she's coming back to Slammiversary as Su Yung, and she's going to foil the plans of Chelsea Green from winning the Knockouts Champion by attacking and getting involved. Her and Kimberly are probably going to get together to have their revenge, and they'll probably take out Deonna Purrazzo, but in the process, the match will be called disqualification, So that's what I see happening. Then we got the Tag Team Championship, the Impact Tag Team Championship. This is going to be a really good one. You got Violent by Design, who is the current Tag Team Champions. And they use the free bird rule, so any one of the 5 guys or whatever can participate in the match as the Tag Team Champions, Like it could be Diener and Rhino, it could be Joe Doring and Rhino, it could be... yeah. But they are the current champions, and there's going to be TJP and Falaba, our recent tag team addition. And obviously the Good Brothers, of course, who are the most popular tag team in Impact Wrestling. Obviously big, huge stars from the WWE. And you got Rick Swann and Willie Mack, so should be interesting. This is real tough to decide, Could the Good Brothers come back and win and regain the Tag Team Championships so they can be a more powerful force along with Kenny Omega, as the elite, the so-called elite there. And yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. I think the Good Brothers are going to regain the Impact Wrestling Tag Team Championships due to interference from the Young Bucks coming in from AEW. We saw how they foiled the plans of Moose in that pay-per-view. They helped Kenny Omega get that win against Moose. I think the same thing's going to happen here. They're going to get involved and take out Violent by Design, and the Good Brothers are going to win Tag Team Championships. Number 6, W. Morrissey, formerly known as Big Cass in the WWE, taking on Eddie Edwards. This is a tough one because I love Eddie Edwards, and I do think he's basically like the face of Impact Wrestling. He's the Impact guy, who has always stood by Impact Wrestling through the doldrums, through the lousy, really bad years there, He stuck with them, That's why I consider him like the face of Impact, because he's always stayed true to them. But W. Morrissey is on a roll, and he's been really dominant since he's arrived in Impact Wrestling. He's been great, actually. I like him as W. Morrissey in Impact a lot better than he was in WWE, even though Enzo and Cass was huge and they were super over. I like what they're doing with him. I think he's great as the bad big guy, just seeing him be the monster, be the big man, and he's doing a great job of it. He's got great mic skills too, he's shown that he's had some great promos. So he's making a really good heel, and I think he is going to go over in this match because they're not going to derail his momentum, And then, last but certainly not least, the Impact World Heavyweight Champion. You got Kenny Omega, who is not only the Impact Champion, he's the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, which that's now a legal title. We saw that Scott D'Amore, the executive vice president of Impact, he made the TNA Championship legitimate, so that's why you see Kenny Omega with the TNA title and the Impact title, and also he's got the AAA title, and he's also got the, obviously, the AEW Championship. And that's another thing. I would imagine that the TNA Championship would come along with the Impact Championship if Sami Callihan wins, So yeah, it's going to be Kenny Omega versus The Draw, Sami Callihan, who's another guy like Eddie Edwards, who's been like one of the top faces of the company, the guy that's stuck with him through good and bad times, And when he first came in, the company was like on the brink of extinction, But somehow they managed to survive. That's what TNA did for a long time, a number of years there. They just barely hung on, But now they're thriving, and it's great to see that. And it's great to see Sammy still be a major part of that. So I think giving him the Impact World Heavyweight Championship would be great, and it would be great for the company. And I think he would be the perfect guy to carry the ball, forward with Impact Wrestling as the world champion, I think he's a perfect choice, I kind of thought Moose was going to be the guy, but didn't happen. But I do think that Sami Callihan needs to be the winner, We need to get that Impact Championship back in the hands of an Impact wrestler, And I think Sammy's the guy to do it. And this is also just announced that this is going to be a no DQ match. So that's going to be interesting. And Sammy is the guy you want for that kind of match. That's his style match. He loves that stuff. He loves the hardcore and the, baseball bat. I'm sure a baseball bat will factor into this match somehow. Alright guys, that's my prediction for the Impact Wrestling Slammiversary. I'm so excited. I cannot wait to watch the show. I think it's going to be another game changer for Impact Wrestling. This is going to take them to the next level because they're going to have the fans back, The fans haven't been around since last year, since COVID hit, I can't remember the last time it was. I think it was sometime in March. The fans haven't been around for a year, so I'm really excited to see the fans back in there and hear the crowd, It's going to be amazing. It's going to be an awesome show, and I can't wait. And thank you guys for joining me, Sean Patrick Erschen, on the Pro Wrestling.